Alright, so this is the second video in our training series where I'm going to show you how you can transform your life as a parent, your teen's life and your shared existence together in your family home, from one of persistent struggle, worry, friction and tension, stress, disappointment and distance, perhaps, to one of mutual empowerment, enjoyment, closeness and freedom. Sound completely unreal, unrealistic and impossible? It isn't. All you've got to do is show up openly to this video series and implement what I'm teaching you, and I guarantee you will see some very positive shifts, some of which you will never look back from as a parent or as a family. So bear with me, get into a good settled space, give me your full attention, take a deep breath in and out, open up heart and mind, and let's get into what I have to say. I've been doing this for a very long time now, evolving my role initially as a GCSE Maths and English tutor into life coaching for young adults and parent coaching to accompany that. I know without a shadow of a doubt that what I'm saying works. I didn't always have this level of confidence, of course, but now I do, because of the results I've seen again and again in the families I've worked with and in my own children. I've run multiple group parent trainings and I'm getting better and better at what I do. How quickly and how effectively I can get results for families who are really struggling in the teenage years. So first of all, if you missed the first video, don't worry. I'm going to briefly recap it here now, and you can dig it out from your emails after this and have a watch of that too. I highly recommend you also do that, of course. All the videos we're giving you here are designed to really shake things up for you in a deep, beneficial, and often much needed way. But yeah, we looked in that first video at what we can actually control or immediately do something about in our relationship with our teen. However they are, whatever they are doing, however they are showing up for themselves in their own lives or in their relationship with us. What we can have immediate control over is ourself. What are we doing? How are we showing up on our side of the relationship? I encourage us all in this previous video to shift our focus from our teen and what is a huge potential trap for parents of obsessively attempting to get the teen to change in so many different ways, and instead to bring our full attention onto ourselves and how we are showing up as a human being and as a parent currently. How well resourced are we for this role of parenting? How well are we in general to be in this role right now? Let's be honest with ourselves. What can we do to support ourselves to be more energized, more open, more tolerant, more accepting, more loving, more joyful, and more responsible? For example, for our own emotions, for our own reactivity, for our own stress levels. It is not a good idea to be parenting a teen in an unresourced state as a mum or a dad. We cannot pour from an empty vessel. Our teens are going to challenge us. The relationship is evolving, they're growing in their power and strength of mind, body and spirit, and we need to adapt, to build a new footing for being with them. And we need to be at the top of our game in order to do so skillfully and in a way that really brings the best out of everyone. So the step from the first video was simple. Focus on yourself, your own well-being, on parent self-care as a top priority. Let's make sure as a first step that we are as well, as healthy, and as satisfied in our own lives to then be able to spare the time, energy, and resources needed to optimally support our teens as required, to give to them generously in currencies like patience, maturity, calmness, compassion, empathy, responsiveness, skill, and creativity. To help them and us navigate these wild years of our child slowly but surely becoming an adult. Okay, so after this first step, we can now refocus on the original problem, the one that brought you to me in the first place, your teen. Our teens might all be demotivated, rude, entitled, anxious, lost, resentful, angry. But the biggest problem for us as a parent usually is that we have grown unable to influence them, to guide them or support them currently. We're out. We have lost influence. They're no longer listening to us, they're rejecting us, avoiding us and blocking us out of their decision-making, maybe lying to us, keeping us well out of their affairs. And when we try and get involved to help, to support, to motivate, to guide, they push back forcefully. They reject us. In a simple way, the root cause of this for many teens is that they no longer want to be told what to do by us. They feel controlled, manipulated maybe, coerced, railroaded, dominated, and overly scrutinized by us. And maybe they're right about all these things, and maybe they're not. Regardless, that's how they feel, and they feel deeply unsure about their own self-leadership as well. They want to do it, but they don't really know how. They need the experience and to experiment safely, and we have to find a way to calm them down, to relax them, to help them feel safe in our relationship and in our homes, to reassure them that we are not going to exert any of those old powers over them anymore, to deeply trust us again, that we just want to help them find their own way, not just get our own way in terms of their life decisions, choices and actions. So the solution to our problem today, having our teens block us out and distance themselves from us, is that we take a definitive step back, not just for a moment, but really forever. We stop the war, we stop pushing, demanding, insisting, we stop taking responsibility off them. We hand over to them, for real. We show them that we are no longer there to micromanage them, that it is no longer appropriate for us to be nagging and reminding and ensuring. It's time to hand over and genuinely step back. We might even apologize about the past and how we've done all this too much today. It's time to stop the warring, start exploring by opening things up, making things fresh and new, take the pressure off right now, to stand by and see what they do of their own accord. We don't have to pretend we don't care anymore, we're just passing the baton and more cheering them on from the sidelines. A guide on the side, as my American team coach, friend and colleague likes to say, not an out the front leader. Either way, before we take this step, we have to be clear on two things first. Firstly, that now is the right time in your family and in your relationships to bring about this huge shift in responsibility and hand over to them. And we'll know it's the right time if we're completely exhausted of trying to motivate them, getting terrible results, having lots of conflict and pushback, we're done. Okay. Secondly, we have to be 100% committed and 100% convinced that this is the right move and that we need to bring about this complete change in our family lives right away, like I say. Then it's just a question of whether you want to actively tell your teen in a formal or spontaneous conversation that this is what you're all going to do and start your collaborative process from there, having them also keep you accountable to what you've committed to in this change, or just start doing it first and then confirm and consolidate the change in a conversation at a later date if needed. The idea here is to definitively draw a line in the sand, just in yourself or as a family, to step back once and for all. Not to give up on them or go off in a huff or put them on trial for a few weeks before reverting back to controlling, but to completely and peacefully let go of the part of you that is still the manager and therefore the unwitting destroyer of your teens' burgeoning self-leadership, dignity and clarity of purpose in their own life. Now the opportunity here is that you go from hell, potentially huge stress and efforts for abysmal results, to holiday time. Complete liberation, everyone excited, connected, respected, and engaged in life and relationships in a way that reflects true success in parenting across the board. This is win-win parenting. You step back, they step up. You do less, they do more. You get out of the way and you watch them fly. You give up full-time micromanaging and let them take the reins. You move your focus into new areas of your own life, to give them the space and time they need to develop theirs, to find their own feet, to realize their own priorities and to face the music maybe a bit, without your stewardship or protection. Now I want you to know that what I'm teaching you here really works. It's worked for countless others, like I've said, and it can and will work for you. But the only way I can really prove that to you, that you should take what I'm saying very seriously, be sure to implement all of it that feels appropriate to you in your specific circumstance and at the right time, of course, is by having you hear directly from other parents who I've worked with over the past decade and who've already benefited considerably from going through this same process and applying these same principles. I've worked by now with hundreds of families, getting towards 1,000 I would think, and I plan to impact millions before the end of my time on this planet. So here are some of them now, sharing how it was for them.
It was just always negative,
We didn't even realise how bad it was.
I think he couldn't see his way out.
We just couldn't reach him at all.
So we were in quite a bad place.
We need help. He needed a mentor. He needed someone else to hear him.
Finding you and working with you was the start of that.
He really enjoyed it.
There's been a huge change. I don't know what happens in those calls, your first call, but it works, it really does.
Gradually with Henry, he sort of returned.
It's just really repaired our relationship.
She's smiling. That's one of the big things. She's got the most beautiful smile, and we didn't see that for a long time. Family members have even mentioned it. Oh my goodness, I don't know what's happened to you, but we've not seen this in years. But she's back. Yeah.
The feeling that someone else has got my kids back, it felt like a really good investment.
I thank you greatly for the role that you've played.
Oh my God, I would never have thought we'd have been here.
working with you gave him some hope.
You have a very special, authentic goodness about you, Henry. Keep that. That's invaluable. You can't put a price on that.
Okay, well, you might be thinking, this worked for those parents, but it won't work for me. My kid is just going to totally take advantage of this situation. They're going to go off a cliff with it if I don't keep them in line or keep them going at school or stop them doing whatever it is they're inclined to do, which you don't want them to do. But let me ask you this. What choice do you really have? Look at things the way they are currently, in your relationship, in your household, in your daily interactions. If your results from all your efforts and approaches so far are bad enough to get you watching this video, then don't you think it's worth trying something different? It's one definition of madness to continue to do the same thing again and again, expecting a different result. So try stepping back. Try removing yourself from the equation. Try leaving them to it. Try retiring from being that kind of parent that fusses and fights with their child to try and improve things and doesn't get anywhere with that. Or maybe you just don't believe that you can change in this way, that you'll be unable to stand by and watch them make mistakes. Well, what do we learn the most from? What helps us to grow the most? That's right, our mistakes. Our kids badly need to fail in order to learn. There isn't really any other way. We're denying them success by mollycoddling them, forcing acceptable or even good results through our strong management tactics. We're eroding their inner confidence and resilience by shielding them from screwing up. So the brave path for the parent truly is to take some risk, calculated by all means, but know that risk is where it's at for parents of teens. Trust can only grow through handing over genuine responsibility. Or you might be thinking, I can't just trust them to get on with it, they won't. Well, no trust grows in a culture of suspicion, so that really is a dead end. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you refuse to believe that your kids could be trustworthy, then they never will be. And even if they actually are, you won't know it. You won't know how to recognize it. I've been in this trap with a father a while ago, briefly. His son's grades were way down in the school's portal online, and his son insisted that it was because his work hadn't been marked yet. This went on for 3 months whilst I was coaching them all, with the dad adamant that his son was lying to them. Then finally, the son's work was marked and his grades went from E's to A's and B's, just as his son had said all along. But we had all endured 3 months of suspicion, relationship breakdown and stalemate, and at what cost to their relationship and their son's character development. He'd done the work all along but couldn't convince his father to believe him. So beware, a culture of suspicion. Everyone loses in that culture, parents and children alike. The next video will support you to stick to this change that we're making together, individually and collectively. For me, this is a parenting movement, and beyond that, even a relationships movement. It's a group training in how we can learn to trust, love and respect ourselves and each other, in spite of all our education, media exposure and training to the contrary. And where better to start learning to relate better than in our parent-child relationships, where we can all see how badly it is needed. But I don't want this change to be hypothetical. I want us all to be able to actually follow through with what we have felt in our hearts and minds today. So the third video of this introductory sequence, the next one, will speak to that. How to hold firm through the storm. How to not lose faith or perspective, how to not revert to type and continue to parent and educate the ways we were parented and educated, which may or may not have worked for us, but are now hopelessly out of date for our children. Please keep encouraging me meantime if you found this valuable by dropping a simple or lengthy comment below to reflect back to me what you've picked up from listening and watching today and what you're going to go forward with as an action point or as commitments to support this mighty shift in your parenting approach, your parent and child relationships, and your overall household harmony and success. See you in the next one.